judge today ruling that Dominion voting systems cannot bring up the January 6th insurrection during its upcoming defamation trial against Fox. But the judge is also blocking Fox from bringing up certain evidence that the company had hoped to present to the jury and from making some First Amendment argues to defend the numerous lies they presented to their viewers. Jury selection begins Thursday. CNN's Oliver Darcy is following the case for us. And Oliver, what's the significance of these rulings today ahead of the start of this trial?
Well, Jake, these rulings are pretty significant in that they will shape some of the rules at the trial, which is set to start on Monday. The judge, as you said, ruled that Fox or that Dominion cannot bring up the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. The judge saying that this may be for another court at another time, but it's not for this court at this time. That said, Jake, the judge did rule in favor for Dominion on a number of issues. The judge ruling that they can bring up financial information that they found in discovery as it relates to Fox. So compensation, for instance, they can bring that up. He says economics are relevant. And he also talks about how Fox cannot bring up some of the broadcasts they aired in which they fact-check some of Dominion's or some of Trump's election lies. He says that's not relevant to the case at hand here because you can't absolve yourself, he says, from defamation by putting someone on at a different time. So some victories for Dominion, some for Fox. Again, like you said, this jury selection starting on Thursday, and the trial will go on Monday with opening arguments unless a settlement can somehow be reached between the two parties.
Meanwhile, these lies that Trump and his minions, including those who work at Fox, told about Dominion, they're still here and still impacting how Republican voters look at electronic voting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Jake, lies have consequences, and it's pretty clear at this point that a significant portion of the GOP base has been influenced by these lies, and some of them are in charge of, voting and coming up with the systems in place for people to vote. And so, for instance, over in Shasta County, a county in California, they're no longer comfortable with Dominion voting machines because of some of these lies. So these lies did have consequences. That's why Dominion is taking Fox to court, and we'll see what happens in the weeks ahead.
Oliver Darcy, thanks so much. Let's bring in former federal prosecutor and CNN legal analyst Elie Honig. Elie, we've already seen so many of these damaging texts and emails from Fox executives and hosts in the case in which they acknowledge that the nonsense they were putting on their air and putting guests on their air sharing, they knew to be false. If you were a Fox attorney defending Fox, how would you feel going into jury selection this week about your case?
I'd feel queasy, Jake. I would not want to be in the position of defending Fox here. I think they're headed for a full-blown journalistic and legal disaster. It is very difficult to successfully sue a media outlet for defamation in this country. What you have to prove is what we call actual malice, meaning the statements were false and the defendant made those statements knowingly or with reckless disregard of the truth. Now, that's a very high bar, but here we have Fox's own texts in black and white where they call the election fraud claims, and I quote, nuts, insane, BS. And so you contrast that with the things that Fox said on air, and I think Fox is in a very difficult position here. Now,
the judge granted partial summary judgment to Dominion in this case. What does that mean? How significant is it?
Well, that's a big win for Dominion because the judge has now ruled as a matter of law and fact, these statements about election fraud were false. That's not even going to the jury. So the judge will tell the jury, I instruct you, jury, these statements were false. Your only job is to decide that actual malice question. Did Fox know or were they reckless? And so with that ruling, Dominion's really halfway to where they need to get.
Are we going to hear, do you think, from some of the high-profile names in the case, whether it's Rupert Murdoch or Sean Hannity?
Absolutely. Rupert Murdoch, the judge ruled, has to testify. Sean Hannity is on both sides' witness list. Maria Bartiromo and others are very likely witnesses. And Jake, when someone's a news anchor, they're sort of used to asking the questions and to dictating what the topics will be. Let me tell you, the tables are going to be turned when those folks are sitting in the witness box. It will not be up to them when the questioning is over. It will not be up to them what the topic will be. They're going to be at the mercy of the judge and the lawyers.
Bill Barr, the former attorney general, who's been pretty clear about these lies being lies, he wrote an op-ed saying that he did not think that this would be a good decision for journalism writ large if Dominion wins. I don't know if you read his case, but you've heard the First Amendment arguments. What do you think of them?
I disagree. I think that the First Amendment needs to be very broad. It should be broad. We in the media take advantage of the First Amendment, as we should. It's part of our system, but it's not limitless. And if, as the allegation is here, any outlet or any person lies knowing that it is false, then yes, there can be civil consequences. So I disagree with Attorney General Barr on that.